everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is glitzzygem. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Today's been very cloudy, no sun today. It's been rainy. It's been raining since last night. It's been like this for the past week, on and off. So yeah, no sun today. I don't think we're the only ones. I think I might have seen some Instagram posts by other beauty gurus from all over, from other parts of the world that are saying the same thing, that they hardly get sun where they're at, and then once they get a little bit of sunshine shining through, then a cloud covers up the sun. So then they their mood just kind of just goes, you know, gloomy after that. But so we're not the only ones down here in the south of Texas that are experiencing, you know, this type of weather. But today I want to introduce to you, well, before I do that, so thank you for those who clicked on my channel. For those who are, you know, new to my channel, who are just now watching me, hello, hi, welcome to our YouTube community. We're a small community now, but I'm trying to build 200 subscribers, and I'm going to do a giveaway. Once I do the giveaway, I'm going to go up to 500 subscribers and do another giveaway then, and then another one at 1K subscribers. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of makeup eyeshadow tutorial videos, really just showing y'all how the you know, just looks, you know, using that certain palette. And yeah, granted, I've been using palettes that maybe some of y'all might not have that department store where y'all live, which I didn't even think of that whenever I was when I started doing my YouTube videos. I just never realized, you know, that some places may not have that product or that department store where they're from, so, or where they live. But you can always go online, but sometimes, you know, it's more expensive buying them online. But I mean, hey, I mean, sometimes you can find a product online, sometimes you can't. That's just how it is. But I'm not sure if you are familiar with the Dollar General, because Dollar General also has a line of beauty as well, and it's called Believe Beauty. And I have 2 eyeshadow palettes that I got from them. And you know, I love my blues, so I got me a blue palette, and I also got me one that looks more like a fall palette here. They're both beautiful colored palettes. I haven't used this one yet, but I've used this one already. And I just want y'all to see for yourselves how this performs, because I've already tried it like a few times, maybe a couple of times, and I do not like the way this performs on me. For some reason, you'll see what I'm talking about once, you know, you'll see because we're going to test out the wear time on these products, and then just test them out to see how they look, you know, once applied, and then throughout the day how they start to look. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that today. And for those who are new, forgot to mention, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing, it's free. Subscribe, you know, why not? It doesn't hurt you. Just subscribe. It's not, you know, it's not a big deal. It's a big deal to me because it helps me out. And you know, if y'all know anything about YouTube, you know, you need at least 1,000 subscribers, you know, to at least start making money when you make 4,000 views. And so that's a little insider on YouTube. So I'm nowhere near that. So I haven't been receiving any kind of PR. I haven't been sponsored by anybody. So so all these videos that I've been uploading are done with my own money. So yeah, this is just a way of, you know, saying a thank you to me, or just, you know, just in general, just for my efforts in showing y'all how this product really works out, and if it's something that y'all want to pick up in the drugstore or not. So yeah, so that's something, you know, y'all can, you know, thank me with, is just by subscribing. And yeah, and then also have different videos on playlists that you can watch as well, not just makeup videos. If you're not interested in too much makeup videos, I also have, you know, other videos, you know, my playlist that you can also watch, like I mentioned. So we both get entertainment at the same time. We both get, it's a win-win. You get entertainment, and at the same time I'm getting my views and my tips, you know, on makeup tips, you know, advice that I give, health advice, weight loss programs, you know, just things like that. It's just informative, and things that you would have to pay someone to hear about, to know about. You're actually listening to them for free. So that's just a thank you to me. So please be polite, subscribe, you know, and yeah, let me just continue this video. So we're gonna go ahead and try out the blue palette first, because I haven't opened this one yet, but I want to test out the blue palette so you have to see how y'all feel about it, if y'all really like it. And I wonder if they will perform the same, if both palettes, you know, are made, you know, with the same formula. You know, they come from the same company, but I'm not sure. Maybe some eyeshadows, you know, are made differently than others, even though they're from the same company. So, or they're from the same line, you know, just different warehouses, different factories, you know, where they make their products. So we're gonna test these two palettes out. But first, I'm gonna test this one out today, and then I'll test the other one out the following day, and then we'll see. We'll see from to see if they both perform the same. You know, if you get the same performance out of both of them, then you'll know. So this is the only way you'll find out. So I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyes. So, you know me, I always like to prime my eyes with the hard candy Eyes the Limit. Is only because the only thing that's closest to me to grab. I mean, I can use concealer, but I don't use those too much. I use eyeshadow primers. I use a concealer whenever I'm using like vibrant colors, or if I'm using a, you know, like a line of, like a higher end line of beauty, then I'll probably use a concealer. And then, I don't know, maybe we can put the concealer and primer test also. Put them to the test, which one held up better, or if they both held the same. It all depends on the shadows that you use as well. You know, sometimes primers are a little better for makeup when you do like natural looks. Whenever you want to do like a vibrant look, I think a concealer base would be a very good base to use if you want it to be a vibrant, like a vibrant eye look. And I also realized the other day when I was doing my e.l.f. test in my previous video, if you've seen my previous video, that the sponges, like the little sponge brushes, the ones that you use for, the ones that you know that come in with the eyeshadow palettes, are like little sponge brushes. They're really good because they like kind of give you a lot of pigmentation onto your eyelid as opposed to the brush. I'm not sure why, but you know, it does, because I tested it out. If you watch my video, you can see that I did it with the brush on one end, and then I was like, I had to take it off because I didn't like the way it was performing with the brush. So maybe that's what's going on with this one. Maybe I think I need to use a sponge brush instead of a you know, a brush with the, you know, with the fluffy end. You know, maybe I should use a sponge brush instead of the fluffy ended brush with this. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So on one end, I'm gonna go ahead and do one with the sponge brush, and I'm gonna do the other one with a the regular, you know, with the regular synthetic brush. I guess that's another way of me putting it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use one side. I'm gonna use the synthetic brushes. The ones that I'm using right now is the Cosmopolitan. This is a good set of brushes for me. I've noticed so far, you know, I like the way these brushes have been performing for me. So I will do that today. That gave me an idea, right? So, or I could do one side without primer and then one side with primer to see how they hold up. Or should we test out the brushes? Let's see how they hold up with the brushes you use. Because not everybody uses primer. Not everybody uses, and mostly everybody uses the synthetic brushes already. Like they've evolved to synthetic brushes and they've done away with the sponge brush. But I would like to really see how it looks with the sponge brush as well. So I'm gonna do part 1 and part 2 of this video. The first part is gonna be testing the eyeshadow with the synthetic brush on one end and then with the sponge brush on the other end. I'll do that, and then on part 2 I'll go ahead and do where one side has primer and one side doesn't have primer to see if it holds up as well. So, but with today's testing, we'll be able to find out how these shadows hold up and for how long. Okay, so let's get started. So, you know, for me, I always like to go in with the transition shade because I'm going to go ahead and go with like a more neutral. I can go all out, you know, make a big, let me see. I like to use a lot of shades. Like, that's what I like to do. I like to use a lot of shades, but for the sake of the brushes, because I know with the sponge brush, you're very limited to doing, you know, using so many colors because it doesn't blend. The sponge brush doesn't blend, but it does hold up on pigmentation on your eye. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do like a natural look, just a natural look. So the first shade I'm gonna go into is well, your transition shade, which I will be using is this one here at the top. This one will be going all in my crease and then also on my outer corner. Just going back and forth. Okay, so that's my transitional shade. And I just want to blend that out. So once that's blended out, I'm going to go ahead and go in with the darker shade, which is this one here at the end. I'm going to go ahead and use that in the outer corner, just do like the outer V. Just do circular motions with the loose wrist and just kind of work it in. And just a little bit, like a third ways into your eyelid. And just work it into your crease. Your third of the crease. Not all the way in, but just a third. You don't want these shadows to look muddy. They already look muddy as they are, you know, as you apply them, they already look muddy. So maybe I should just concentrate it just on the outer corner. You can see that. I'm just concentrating it on the outer corner. Okay. I might have to come back and do another application on the outer corner, but we'll see. So the last shade I'm going to use, I'm going to go ahead and go in with my fluffy brush. Well, it's not a fluffy brush. It's actually my my blending brush. I'm going to go ahead and use my blending brush. And I am going to use this as my last shade on the lid. Just something here that I can just blend in from the inner corner to the outer corner lid. Okay. Inner corner to the outer corner lid. And just blend that out. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a smaller tip brush here. This is going to be for my inner corner highlight. And the inner corner highlight that I want to go ahead and use is this one here. I love this shade too. I want to use this shade, but I think I can do that. I'm going to have to do a different look with that. But in my inner corner, I want this this lighter. It's almost like a silver, like a blue silver, periwinkle silver blue. and just giving me that inner corner highlight that I need. And you know, just because I like this shade here so much as well, I'm going to go ahead and add that in there too. But just a little bit, not too much. I do not want to overpower the other darker shade that I put on, which is this one in the corner here. I put this one all over the lid. So I don't want to, I'm going to go ahead and just put, just very lightly, just grab some of this shade and just kind of like go down the center. Just like this. And just let it smooth out down the center. Not sure if there's going to be too much of a big difference or not. Yeah, I guess you can see that little duochrome, because this is like a duochrome shade. It shifts from like blue to brown, so it's like a little duochrome shade. So this is how it's looking now. And it looks all muddy, don't it? But it's just the way the shades are. That's just how the shades were made. The color story. And I don't know if it's the formula or the color that, you know, the colors of the shadow. I mean, of the palette. Just because of the way they made it, they just kind of like blend all together. I did say I was going to go back to the outer corner because it just kind of looks like it just kind of faded away in there. So let me try it one more time. And most of these are shimmers. So this blue one here is a matte shade, and this one here for the eyebrow bone is a matte shade as well, and then the other four here are all shimmer shades, and this is a duochrome down here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put some more of this blue out here. And I did say I was going to do something just natural, where I was just going to use like 2 or 3 shades, but I just got away. My creativity just got away. Got away from me. Which is fine. But I want to sweep this out. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to go ahead and do the other eye. I do want to use, I'm going to use my pencil brush. And I want to go ahead and do my eyebrow bone with this lighter shade here. Just like a creamy ivory shade. And I'm going to go ahead and do that on my eyebrow bone. It's like a creamy ivory shade. Alright, so there it goes. We have that there. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and use a sponge brush. We're going to go ahead and use this little sponge brush here. We're going to do the other side the same way. Okay, just a little fallout. Blend out. Okay, so we're going to use this sponge brush. So we're going to go ahead and use, we're going to go ahead and do the lid first. Which the lid I went in with this shade here. So let's go ahead and use this from inner corner out. Starting with the lid. See how much pigmentation this grabs. It grabs a lot of pigmentation. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and use the transitional shade we use for our eyes into the crease, which is this one here. This is the transitional shade we used for the crease, so we're going to go ahead and use that inner corner of the crease out to the outer corner. And that's a thing about these sponge brushes, is that there's no blendability. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and use the other shade, the darker shade here, for the outer corner. The whole outer V. Okay, so this is how it's looking right now with the sponge brush. It's more pigmented than using the brush. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and use, what's it? Oh yeah, for the eyebrow bone, use the other end of the sponge tip applicator, the clean side. I'm going to use the ivory, the creamy ivory shade for the eyebrow bone. See, it picks up a lot of pigmentation. It picks up a lot of color with the sponge brush, which is fine. That's what it's supposed to do. So we'll see how this turns out. We'll see which one outperforms the other, you know, which one, you know, stays with the same, with the same pigmentation, or does it fall. We'll see. It's my first time trying it with the sponge brush as well, so it's going to be new to me as well. Now we're going to do the inner corner of our lid. You know, we're going to go ahead and put in that inner corner shade, and we're going to go ahead and use just the tip, on the clean side, just the tip of the sponge applicator. We're going to go ahead and go in with this shade here. This shade is like a periwinkle, light blue, silvery shade. We use it for the inner corner. Okay, is that for the inner corner? Now, for the duochrome, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use my finger. I'm just going to do a little patting motion down the center of the lid. Okay, to make it look like I have a little halo effect going there. Okay, so there we have it. So here's the one with the brush side. And this side is with the sponge applicator. It's more pigmented, as I realized, as I noticed. Okay, and this is the one with the brush side. Okay, so this is how it's looking now. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn my head so you can see the initial application. Okay, so this is the Believe Beauty, and the color of this palette is Into the Blue. Into the Blue. We're going to go ahead and test this out and see how it performs. And I'll see you back in what, 6 to 8 hours. Right now it's 4:50. Let's just call it. It's 4:51, so let's just call it 5 o'clock. So I'll be back at 11 p.m. That's 6 hours. We'll see how it holds up. Once the 6th hour comes around, then we'll go ahead and do another initial check-in. And if it's still looking good, then I'll go for 2 more hours, which is an 8-hour check-in, and then you'll see the difference. Continue watching my video. Okay, I'll see you in about 6 to 8 hours. All right. Don't change that channel. It'll be 6 to 8 hours for me, but it'll be a second for you. Okay, my gems, if you can see me, I'm back. It's been 6 hours already, and my eyeshadow's been holding up. It's been 6 hours, so I'm in the light so you can actually see that this side is still vibrant as usual. I mean, as it did in the first initial application. And this side is still, it's not as vibrant as this side, because this side we use the sponge applicator, which makes the shade more pigmented than the brushes. The brushes kind of make the pigment, loses pigmentation. It doesn't use, it kind of like picks up a lot of product, but then it doesn't apply that much product on your eyelids. So it's your preference, if you want to use the sponge applicator or if you want to use the brush. It's your preference. I'm getting the same results as I did from the beginning. I'm not seeing any creasing. I'm not seeing any kind of any fading. I believe it stayed the same, considering the fact, I used both sides with primer, which I should have just tested one side with primer, but I guess I just wanted to experiment to see, which side would look better by using the sponge applicator or just using a synthetic brush. And I really like the way the sponge applicator side came out. It came out very vibrant, and it actually got into the areas I wanted it to get in, like this dark blue just kind of stayed there. It resonated there. It had not spread anywhere. Yeah, and the duochrome that shifts into blue and brown is still there, and so is this shade that I use for the crease is still there, and so is the shade that I use for the lid is still there. Same goes for this side, because of the duochrome very prominently there. You can see the duochrome, the brown shift there with the blue. You can see this side is not as dark in the outer corner with that dark royal blue shade as it is on this side as opposed to this side, and it's for the same reason, is because I used a synthetic brush on this side, which you're going to get that out coming up. But I still have the highlights, the inner corner highlight that I had placed. Excuse any background noise, my brother's playing a game. But overall, I think the application, I think the eyeshadow stayed on pretty good for 6 hours. I think it would hold out for another 2 hours. I believe so. It has not creased, like I said. There's no fading or anything like that of it. I think in my next testing video, I'm going to test it out with the maybe 6 to 8 hours, but with without a primer. One side with primer, one side without a primer, and just see how that works. I think I'm going to do that with the other palette, the fall looking palette, the one that I showed you at the beginning of the video. But let's go ahead and do our initial check-in. So that's the front. Okay, so that's the front, going to the side. We're going to go down this way. And then I wonder if you are getting the light. I think this eyeshadow did perform pretty good for being a Dollar General brand. I just, you know, there was another YouTuber that did a review on the Believe Beauty, and she wasn't very happy about the quality of it. It's just a matter of preference, I guess, because define, like, to me overall, I mean, the pigmentation's there. It has color payoff. Granted, is not as I guess granted that it's not, what should I say? If I would say anything bad about this, is that the shades that they put in the palette, the shade ranges, just kind of were so close, so similar to each other, that when you apply them on your lids, you know, they tend, like, you can see the difference, you know, okay, this is a darker blue, like a darker royal blue, but like the shades are too close together, like the undertones, to where it just makes your eyes look a little grungy. That's the only bad thing I can say about that palette, about that particular blue palette. I'm gonna test out the other palette, like I said, the one with the burgundy shades in it, the one that looks more like a fall palette. I'm gonna go ahead and test out the shades, and I'm gonna go ahead and use the one side with primer, one without, and see how that performs. I'm pretty sure with this one you do need a primer, because with this eyeshadow you'll need a primer, because I had used this already once before. As you can see, as you saw, like at the beginning of my video, that my palette did look like it had been used already. It's because I had played with it already, and I had played with it with my skin, with just no primer, and I realized that it was just falling out of place. There was movement, you know, without the primer. So primer makes a big difference when it comes to these type of drugstore eyeshadows. So with this particular one, I believe just you know, using the primer, you'd get a better outcome. As far as like the grungy look, I don't know why I'm getting like this dirty grungy look from the eyeshadow palette. I don't know. I don't understand why. I guess I don't think it was I don't think it was how I applied the shadows, because I mean, I use different brushes, and I don't know, maybe I could have done a little better in blending it out a little better with the synthetic brush side, and then with the sponge side, well, you know, you can only apply it one way, and maybe I should have started off with the darker shade than starting off with the light. But I figured, you know, the traditional way, when back in the day, how us women used to put on our eyeshadows were with the eyelid first, and then we'd go out in the outer corner and then go to the eyebrow bone. So that's how we applied it, just the traditional way. So I did the traditional way on this end. I don't know if it would have turned out different if I would have started off with a darker color and then went in with lighter and then lighter. I don't know. It probably would have came out more grungier, I believe, with the sponge applicator. But yeah, I mean, that's the result of this eyeshadow palette, and that's the end of my testing. I've had it on for 6 hours, and I think it'll go for for about another 2 hours. So yeah, I'm not gonna say that I would go to this palette a lot. I don't think I'd use this palette again. I think if I used it, it'd be something like, it's like, you know, just something like a quick grab, you know, if I'm running late or something, and that was the only thing there that I seen, like on my dresser drawer, on my dresser, I'm sorry, and or on my vanity, and I would see it's there and it's something I just need to put on. I'd just probably grab it, but I don't think I just grab it just to use this palette again. I really didn't like the way the colors turned out. I mean, maybe if I use it as a single, maybe if I used each eyeshadow as a single shadow, or maybe just use 1 or 2 shades and not all of the shades that were on the palette, because I think that's what caused me to have this grungy look. I try to create like a gradient look. Maybe I could have done a cut crease, but I just wanted to test out the wear. This is really the point of the video, is the wear on the eyeshadow. But yeah, maybe there was some things that I could have done different, but I just wanted to test out the wear, how long it would stay on your lid, and if there was any kind of like movement or fall off, or where, you know, it moves and then you get creasing around your crease area or anything like that. And I didn't get any of that today, so far the wear test worked. It's holding up. Okay, so that's my review on that, and I'll see you in my next video. Love you, gems.